Award-winning artists are teaming up for a one-of-a-kind friendship story about creativity and self-expression.
The Cartoonists Club is a how-to guide that takes readers into the world of making comics with real tips and instructions. So joining us now to continue the conversation are cartoonists Raina Telgemeier and McCloud. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, we're excited. This is going to be great. Can you start by explaining why two best-selling cartoonists want to share their secrets of their profession? Why share?
I don't think of them as secrets as much as just like tips and tricks and ways that a person can take their own inspiration and do what we do, which is to make stories and to tell the stories that we have inside of us. I've been making comics since 2006. I have a bunch of graphic novels that a lot of kids really like to read. And one of the things they always ask me is, well, where do you start? And how do you do this? And can you give me some tips? And I was like, it would be so nice to have a book for them that shares what I've learned over the years and what I can, teach them, I suppose. But it's done in a way that's very sneaky. It's done in the form of a story about fictional characters who kind of go on a journey of discovery. And who better than to collaborate with McCloud, who wrote a book called Understanding Comics that did something similar back in the 90s for an adult audience. So I asked him to collaborate with me.
Yeah.
To share both of our secrets.
And there's no stopping me from sharing my secrets. I'm sharing them all the time. I love to talk about comics. But sure enough, my audience was a little bit older. And Raina has this tremendous built-in audience of really millions of kids. And we wanted to take all of that knowledge that we've acquired over the years, Raina and me both, and make sure that the kids had every tool that they could possibly need to tell their own stories. And because we really believe that each kid has a story inside of them, but that they might need a little encouragement, a little courage to tell it, to be themselves on paper.
I love that you all are giving back to the next generation of cartoonists. It's so fascinating. And I love how you two also brought your skills and kind of meshed them together to create this story. So tell us about the story that's told in the Cartoonists Club.
Well, it's a story about 4 kids in their middle school who all have a common interest in cartooning, but they're all very different. And they form the club just as a chance to share what they know. And with the help of their library media specialists, they all pursue their goals together. But each of them has different strengths, different weaknesses, and different inclinations. So it's partially just supporting those differences. Each kid is supporting each other's strengths. And, when one of the kids is a little shy, then the other kids help her to be more more outgoing. When one of the kids has trouble coming up with a story, they all get together and do that. So that it's a very yes and culture, and that's the culture we want to encourage the most, is a support of each kid's individual needs.
Yeah, kind of expand a little bit more. How do you think this book will help aspire young creative minds maybe to go down the cartoonist path?
We certainly hope that's the case. We wanted this to feel inclusive, and so if you're a reader and you love this book and you want to make comics yourself, congratulations, you're a part of the club. And if you want to do this with your friends at school, or you want to, start your own cartoonist club out of your house on Sundays, the sky's the limit, and every kid is going to tell stories a little differently. But again, that's part of what makes it fun, is that there are no wrong ways to do it.
And you could do it right away. Any
Yes.
kid who picks up a pen and a piece of paper can be making comics right now. And that's one of the messages, too.
Why would you say comics and graphic novels are such a powerful draw for kids and adults alike, too? Maybe, Scott, you can speak on that.
Well, we live in a time of visual culture. I think visual culture is becoming increasingly sophisticated. And I think that there's a growing understanding that when people are faced with pictures, they do use their imaginations. We're really challenging people to interpret pictures, and each generation is increasingly visually literate. That's a kind of literacy, right? And in comics, you have an additional kind of literacy, which is the imagination that you have to exercise between the panels. When you show one picture after another, you're challenging the reader to make those drawings come alive and to see all of the motion and life between those panels, that's part of the imagination too.
Oh, it's so creative. Oh my goodness. Thank you both so much for joining us and giving us a little glimpse into your world and how aspiring cartoonists can get their start.
Thanks for having
Thanks.
us.
Thanks, and congratulations on the new project here. This is so fascinating, Holly. I want to read it too.
I know.
I mean, I love to illustrate and write, but I don't really know much about comics. So, hey, I feel like not just for kids, adults can get some inspiration too.
Absolutely. You're such a good artist. I feel like you could just make
thanks.
magic happen once you start putting the, pencil to the paper. My kids love graphic novels. They love this style of reading. I don't really feel like it was that popular when I was a kid. So I've kind of had to change my brain a little bit to encourage them to read the style of book. Because when I look at it, I think, okay, is there enough text on the page? Are you getting enough?
Right.
But any reading is wonderful.
That's so true.
And we have really found some really fun books that they really do enjoy. So I love this.
Glad. Hey, exposing them to something
Right.
different.